Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be planting these fruit trees. I have a peach tree here and a apple tree that I'm going to be planting. Something I've been wanting to try out is building in some irrigation so it's easy to water these trees and it trains the roots to go down for water instead of come up to the surface. So stick around and I'll show you guys how I do that. So to start today, I'm going to be cutting a 3-inch PVC pipe into 4-foot sections. This is what I'm going to be burying right next to the tree in order to create that irrigation. Now this isn't my idea, I heard someone else recommend this to me, and what they said is this helps train the roots to go down to seek water. It also helps aerate and add oxygen into the soil from this pipe. So what this pipe does is you're going to bury this directly beside the tree that you're planting. I'm going to drill holes all the way down through this so that the water can escape from this pipe and water the soil around it. So I'm going to put one cap down on the bottom on each of these pipes, and then I'm going to be using another cap on the top in order to seal off the top, just so then a whole bunch of dirt and stuff doesn't fall down inside. Now I'm going to be using some PVC glue just to make sure that cap doesn't fall off before I get it buried into the ground all the way. It shouldn't fall off, but this is just in case. Now I'm really putting that cap down on the bottom so that the water doesn't drain instantly down into the soil below where the roots currently are. I want it to fill up the pipe and then leak out from there to the surrounding areas all around it. Once the caps are glued on the ends of the pipe, I'm going to take my drill with a 1/4-inch bit and drill holes down the side of these pipes about every 5 to 6 inches. Then I'll rotate the pipe 2 inches and go down the side again until all the way around the pipe has holes that the water can leak out and absorb into the soil. Now I'm going to put one small hole at the bottom of the cap just to make sure that no stagnant water sits at the bottom of this. I don't want that to happen, so that will slowly drain out at the bottom as well. Now I wanted to test out real quick before I drill the holes in it and bury this pipe into the ground to see how much water can fit into this pipe. That will also show me how fast that water is leaking out and absorbing into the soil to see if it's actually doing its job. Now these water jugs I have here hold about 2.5 gallons. It only used about half of this jug, so that's maybe a gallon, a little over a gallon, and it was full. I'll also test the pipe with holes in it, try to fill that up, and it leaks out so fast that I couldn't even fill it all the way up before all the water escaped. Now this number of holes is sufficient for the water to escape now, but once it's buried in the soil, we'll have to see how that works. Alright, so the trees that I have here, I bought these from Gurney's, and this is a peach flat wonderful 2 to 4 foot tree, and then I've got here a apple crunch a bunch. So I'm going to be testing those out today, planting these. I've got them just in a bag of soil right now until I could get to plant them. I'm going to dig this hole about 2 feet wide and close to 2 feet deep. This will give a nice good loose bed for this tree to start growing in. Once the tree gets larger, it will have plenty of space to spread out through here, and it will have the strength to do that. Now we have a lot of clay here, so loosening up the soil and adding in some good additives with it as I'm planting it back in will really help boost the growth and help it grow faster. I've got the hole dug to 2 feet deep. Now I'm going to take a post hole digger and dig down another 1.5 feet in just one spot where I can put the pipe down into the ground fully. Now this is going to help the water get all the way down below the tree and help the tree search for that water and grow the roots downward instead of up to the surface where I normally water the tree from. This is important because if the roots are only on the surface, it can dry out a lot quicker. If it has the roots down under the ground looking for moisture down there, it's not as dependent on rain as often. If you hit a drought or dry spell, it's not going to kill the tree. It'll be perfectly fine if those roots are down deep looking for water down there. As I'm filling this back in, I'm going to be putting in some garden soil, some cow manure, sawdust, and mixing in a lot of the soil that I dug out of the hole as well. This will help the soil be a lot looser and aerated, won't compact nearly as hard as all that clay that was down there already, and hopefully this will hold in and absorb moisture a lot faster. For the rest of the soil, I'm going to create sort of a small retention pond. This tree is on a hill, and any water that falls here will just hit the clay and sort of runs off before it soaks into the soil like it should, and it'll dry out really quickly. So what I'm going to do is build sort of a wall at the bottom of the tree on the hill so that when water runs down, it'll pool up around the base of that tree and soak down into the root. This isn't as noticeable because of the angle that I'm at, but you'll notice that a lot more on the next tree that I plant. Once you're done planting, you're going to want to water this right away. It needs some moisture in there or else those roots are going to dry out really quick. So I watered it on the surface as well as in that pipe. I want to make sure that this is a brand new tree. It does need some water directly onto the roots because the roots aren't as deep as the rest of the pipe is all the way at the bottom. It depends on what type of tree you're planting, but for the most part you need to water these really often for the first couple weeks, at least once a day if not twice a day if it's really hot outside. Once that's done, after a couple weeks, it should have enough of a root base to survive a little bit longer in between waterings, but it will take a good month, maybe 2 months, in order for it to fully establish and not be as dependent on your water. Now I will say, once it's at the peak of the summer when our peach trees are really growing the most fruit and it needs a lot of water, I will go out there at least a couple times a week and still water those. So that's when these pipes will be really good because it will get the moisture directly to the tree really quickly when it needs it, instead of pouring it on top of the soil hoping it will get down to the roots where it's at. For the other trees I have planted, I have noticed when I try to water those throughout the summer, when it really Now the second tree's planted, I'm going to go ahead and put 2.5 gallons like I did with the other tree on the surface to help that new root base get some moisture quickly. And then I'm going to put 2.5 gallons as well down the pipe in order to put a lot of moisture underneath the tree, help it to search for that moisture going down with the new fresh roots that it's growing. If you remember the test I did at the beginning, seeing how much that pipe will hold, it only held about half of one of those jugs of water. That's only 1.5 gallons at most. Now I'm pouring in 2, so that's 5 whole gallons I poured into this pipe, and it's absorbing so fast into the soil it won't even stay full after the second one. So I think this is a great test. It proves that it is working, it's absorbing into the soil, and instead of the water running off on the surface and watering the grass and weeds around the tree, it's actually getting the water down into the ground where the roots are going to be growing. Now here's 2 other plants. I planted 2 grapevines. I did the same thing with these, and I have some water going down, feeding the roots underneath. I'm hoping that that will give a boost to these grapevines. And hopefully I can see if this is actually adding any benefit to these plants and if it helps it grow faster than the others. Now I am interested to see if this is worth it. I know PVC pipe isn't cheap, and this is adding to the expense of already buying the fruit trees or bushes. But if you want to make sure that these will actually live and hopefully produce the most fruit possible, this hopefully can help that happen. Now it's been a couple weeks. You can see that apple tree already has buds on it. It's growing really well, and it seems to like the system that I've got so far. I'm going to continue to water this and keep an eye on it, see how well this does, and I'll let you guys know in the future if this is a great idea or not. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not already. I'll try to post update videos as time goes on later this summer and next year to show how this tree has progressed with this new water system. Once those videos are posted, you can find the links right here on the screen. Click on those and check them out. Thanks guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.